Hey there, folks. Welcome to our run of Alas for the Awful Sea, inspired by G. Willow Wilson and Christian Ward's Invisible Kingdom. Before starting in on things, I want to do a round of introductions for folks watching. If you could give your name, your pronouns, and who you're playing, that would be great. We'll start with me and follow the character keeper. I'm Steven, he, him. I'm GMing this run of Alas for the Awful Sea. And if you want to find any more of this or any of the other videos I'm posting through the Gauntlet, you can look me up at Steven Alligator on Twitter or on YouTube. So if we could shift over to you, Chet.
I'm Chet. I use he, him, and they, them pronouns, and today I will be playing Bliss, but that's mixed bliss to you. They're the ship's bosun, and they are one of their species, several genders. They have craggy violet skin, tired eyes, worn wrinkles around their eyes, and they are stuck in some philosophical and economic conundrums, let's say, and we'll have to decide where their priorities lie and where their convictions lie.
Hey, my name is Dana, my pronouns are he, him, and tonight I'm playing Maze, who uses she, her, or they, them pronouns. She's the ship's surgeon, and I guess confidant to anyone who spends time with her. At the moment, they are, up to their elbows in blood, having helped save the life of one of our friends ashore. But I guess we'll see more of that anon.
Hi everyone, my name is Dana, pronouns she, her, and I'm playing Sarsa, also pronouns she, her. Sarsa is an arbory, like a plant-based species, and she's also the strider for this crew, and she's mostly trying to incite some rebellions and connect with folks from her own species that are all over everywhere in the galaxy. And we will see how her story ends.
I'm Ben. I use he, him pronouns, and I'm playing Panex, who also uses he, him pronouns. He is a member of the Abbey as well, and he's the ship's cook, but he's just here for the ride, Like, he just wants to see what's what and experience new things. And it turns out new things ended up being a rebellious union leader and possibly a little bit of seditious action against a refining plant. It's exciting.
Yeah, great. And this game, of course, is hosted through the Gauntlet. The Gauntlet is an online game community mostly focusing on role-playing games of the Indian OSR varieties. Besides publishing a zine called The Codex, it also puts out several podcasts about role-playing games, and of course, it organizes a gaming calendar, which this and many other games are organized through every month. The calendar is open to non-members, so feel free to jump on over there through the link below if you're interested in playing with any of the folks here tonight or any of the other people on the Gauntlet. All Gauntlet games make use of an open door policy. We are all here to have fun and tell a story together. If something happens in real life or you become uncomfortable at the table, feel free to step away as long as you need. No one will hold it against you, and you're free to return whenever you feel ready. If you're able to let the group know if and when you expect to return, that would be helpful to the rest of us in terms of framing scenes. We understand sometimes emergencies happen, and it's not always possible. Besides the open door, we'll also be making use of several other safety tools, which I'm just going to name but not go into too much detail about because everyone here knows them, and you can just look at the other videos if you want more information about them. They are the X card, Lines and Veils, and Script Change. But that basically takes us to the end of our kind of opening spiel. And I think that where I want to open things. So I think actually I want to open on a tiny bit of a flashback, because we have talked about what Panix was getting up to while everyone else was doing their stuff. So I am curious, like as we kind of open on the kind of opening shot of the refinement plant. I want to ask Zarza, how can we like visibly see the like pollution it's emitting into the Aurelian crown?
I think maybe like the land itself is like becoming drier and drier as the pollution is corrupting, and we see like as people steps, like we see the ground shattering before their steps.
Mm-hmm. Cool. And yeah, and I think that as we see a group of unionists sneaking in around the outside, I'm wondering, Mixed Bliss, what flaw in the security are they taking advantage of to get access to the facility?
So I think that there's we've talked about how the different the planetoids of the Aurelian crown have there's something in their geological makeup that acts as like an amplifier for
Right.
communication signals. Well, I think that there is also a way to use it as shielding, to use the amplification capabilities as more of a directing, and you can create like sensor shadows, and I think that there are some of these sensor shadows at various points on the perimeter of the facility, essentially blind spots.
Mm-hmm. And I think as one of the unionists stops to gasp and we see Zenith pick him up, how can we tell that they have begun to suffer from, well, I believe we've named it at this point. I think Maze or Zarza might have named it the crystal lung.
Yeah, I think maybe as we see maybe the kind of fracturing of the ground that Zarza described, we see, maybe in close up these kind of crystalline dust or molecules kind of drift off under people's footsteps, and then like they're going to be inhaled by this crew who are going in maybe without the usual mining protection because they're on a raid and not working.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and as the camera zooms in, we see that one of this group is Panix. And so, first off, Panix, I want to say, let's see here. On the characters, what is that basically represented as? Yeah, you had just delivered all these weapons to the Unionists. So I'm gonna go ahead and say that if you want to have a blaster pistol, you can have that. That is a close to harm loud weapon.
Sure.
Just
Seems prudent.
how do we see Panic? Is this like, has Panics engaged in these kinds of activities before, or is this like, you know, like a novel first date material here?
I think it's definitely pretty novel. He's maybe had a bit of a history with shady characters. That tends to be where you have to go to get the the seasonings that aren't allowed on any given planet. But this directly involved is definitely new, and so he's feeling a little nervous, but also a little excited. This is like right out of an action vid.
I think Zenith sees your nervousness and puts his hand on your shoulder. I'm glad. No, I'm not going to say. I think he says, like, I'm impressed you offered to come along with us on this, Panics. I don't often see this kind of commitment from spacers to when it comes to local politics. And I want you to know that I'm sorry, I'm just trying to think of the right wording here that he has. I don't know a lot of good people in this galaxy, but I think you're one of them.
Probably more good people than you think. But the thing about local politics is it's always local to someone. These people matter too.
Mm-hmm.
And hey, this will be definitely. It's going to be hot. I'm going to be hot. I have a gut blaster. This is just so you know, I'm hot right now.
Yeah, I think he gives a chuckle at that and says, no modesty, and he gives you a wink. I like it.
Who has the time?
Yeah, and I think that as we sort of see this mission go off, just to kind of set up some of the stuff we know happened next time, I think we see the Unionist. I think we just said they were Temurian. Get shot by a blaster fire as you hear it go off of the security force, and they go down. And I think this is sort of as you are getting into the facility. And I think when you look up, I'll say Zenith is engaged, kind of grappling with the security that is that fired the blaster rifle. Like the two are fighting over the rifle, and like they are deadlocked as two other security forces who are further back are kind of radioing stuff into HQ. What do you do?
I think while he's ready with the blaster, I think he's going to try and call on as much of his experience with Maze as he can and try and be more of a medic. So he's going to be staying back and helping out where he can when someone does get injured.
Cool. I think... Yeah, I think in that case that as you're like laying back, and what kind of help are you? So you say you're kind of playing the medic. I assume this is like offering basic first aid.
Yeah, trying to remember everything he can from helping Maze out over the years.
Yeah, I think that. We see. Yeah, go ahead and I think give me a. I don't think you don't have like the medic move, but go ahead and give me an acting under pressure here, because you are trying to endure a force against you.
Right. That's a 10.
Cool, you do it. So why don't you tell us how do you not just succeed at this, but how do you manage to like hold under this like blaster fire, playing this role of the medic?
I think in the back of his head he's thinking a lot about if he had the chance to play this kind of role back on his planet of origin, and trying to keep in mind that this is someone's planet, so he needs to keep his head. He needs to do this for them. And also this is like definitely going to give him a good in with Zenith. So like he can't afford to mess this up. Also, Maze would be really disappointed.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, I think that we see like you are holding things together, and I think Zenith is kind of shoulders in to the security who he is kind of grappling with, and takes control of the rifle. He looks down to you, panics, and says, "Things are getting hot here. Can you move? Are you going to be able to move him?" Gesturing down at your fallen kind of member.
Oh, definitely. This is nothing. And just he's brawny. We'll just pick him up. Not quite like a sack of flour, but he's definitely not been a medic before.
Mm-hmm. And I think that we see Zenith pull out a detonator and flick it open. And he looks at you and says, "In that case, I think we need to run."
Point the way.
Cool. And why don't you just describe to us how you look as you are running away under blaster fire?
Really good. Just the leaves ruffling in the breeze. He's got the one guy in his arms, keeping a close tail on Zenith, and the fiery lighting when the explosion goes off. He knows he's looking great.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And he'll probably be a bit of a wreck later when all this settles in. But right now he's kind of digging this.
Cool. Awesome. Yeah, and so I think with that, we are going to flash back to the present, if that works for you.
Yep.
And we are, again, I believe, where we left Maze and Mixed Bliss off. The two of you were just in the kind of repurposed, like, receiving bay turned surgery that the two of you were set up in, right?
Yeah, I think we'd had that kind of psychic connection stare off,
Yes.
as we maybe agree to cooperate right now, but there'll be answers later, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I guess we had saved this Union man's life.
Yeah, and Zenith had some like raid alarms had just started going off, and Zenith had revealed that they had attacked the refinement plant. So, Mixed Bliss, how do you feel about being dragged into all this unwittingly?
Well, being a sailor, I try to stay out of local politics as much as possible. I'm always spending my time on ships. There's no need to get mixed up in this. So I think as I see like Maze, like, cleaning his hands, or cleaning their hands, as the person on the table has, been stitched up. I'm going to step over to her and sort of with my voice down, say, what are you doing here? We can't get mixed up in this.
I think maybe Maze is doing a few extra steps, or maybe giving some kind of instructions on some longer care items that they'll need. But kind of turns around to Bliss and kind of like gives you a look like, sure, let's talk about this right now. After we have just saved this person's life, you're saying that wasn't worth doing? Is that what you're saying? You should have just bled out.
I'm saying whether it was worth doing or not is irrelevant. You, as a member of the crew, don't need to be a part of this. We do business with what was the name of the mining corp? Expa. We do business with Expa. They pay at least a chunk of your paycheck several months out of the year.
Well, if you want to work on one of their ships, Bliss, go right ahead. But we're an independent ship. We work for whoever we want.
We work for whoever pays.
Well, Bliss, sorry to burst your bubble, but Zenith pays for my services here with those shiny new parts that you're getting for the ship.
Shiny or new, is irrelevant. As long as it's not, we don't have the resources for ideological campaigns. So I guess it's good that we're getting something out of it. Is this what the captain was involved in?
Well, is that really what you think? Really what you feel, that we are just interested in the buck and we do not care what we have to do or who we have to do it to make ends meet? Because if that's true, then I know exactly why the captain doesn't want you in his private business.
Yeah, I'm wondering, Maze, are you trying to manipulate another?
I guess I am trying to make them come around to my way of thinking in some form. So I guess that makes sense to manipulate them.
Yeah, so what you want is Bliss to come around to your point of view, or to agree to help you?
I mean, I suppose ultimately, but I guess Maze really just wants to know that is really what Bliss thinks, because I think maybe if she thinks that that's really what they think, then maybe she's not bothered to try to convince them. If you get my meaning.
Okay.
So
would you be?
So I'm not sure.
Yeah, go ahead, Donna.
Yeah. So I mean, maybe
you might be reading another's thoughts then.
Yeah. If it's kind of step by step, because I don't know, Chet, if you kind of think that is clear to anyone at this stage, even to yourself.
I don't think it's super clear. I'm just playing around with it, so it could go in whatever role happens. It'll be interesting to see what comes of it.
Yeah, give me a roll for read another's thoughts.
Okay, let me make that. Okay, that's a 9. Which is one question. I'm not sure if any of those questions really get.
Is your character telling the truth, which we could interpret is Bliss lying to themselves here?
Yeah. Okay, let's go with that. So, if that sounds good, Chet.
Yeah. So I think that we can answer this. This will be interesting. It's a visual answer to that question. You're picking up. So as Bliss is saying, we can't get involved in these ideological campaigns. We have to make enough to make ends meet, come what may, whether we like it or not. And as they say this, their hand is working the prayer beads Um, and you can tell that as they're saying this through almost gritted teeth, it's not what they want to do. It's what they feel like their job is. But they are trying to convince themselves of it as much as they're trying to convince you of it.
Okay. So yeah, I think maybe Maze will step a little bit closer and maybe put a hand on your arm or your shoulder and say, kind of maybe with a lower voice than usual, I know on the ship you are the bosun and you've got to command everyone's respect and say exactly the way things ought to be. Right? It's your way or the highway. But right now, between us, we know you can do better.
And Bliss thinks back to when Maze says that you can do better, Bliss thinks back to when they were in the Exhiba offices with their brother and basically just agreed to do whatever anti-union efforts were necessary to get paid by the corp, and their brother just basically just was so disappointed in them. And it's I think that this is something that is they've been trying to earn Maze's trust and respect on the ship, because since Maze has essentially seniority, has some the authority of seniority on the ship, and so this is like another person who that Bliss sees like this relationship deteriorating. And so when you say that, you can be better, Bliss thinks to their there's like a saying in the like a verse from the scripture of the relinquishment that is relinquish what keeps you bound so that you may be better. And they say this to themselves, echo these words. And say to Maze, what can I do to help?
I mean, I don't know right now.
Yeah, maybe we can fade out there, because what I want to also know is where is Zarza going? Because of course Zarza can just sort of end up where she wants because she has her innate compass.
I think I would like to speak to my crew. I think we needed some sort of reunion, and maybe if I can find Bliss and Mace, with asking around, asking in the ship where are they going. I would use my net compass to try to find them.
Yeah, go ahead and give me a roll of plus beyond here. Let's see what happens. Oh. Okay. Okay, I'm just gonna keep that in my back pocket. But as you come to Zenith's bar, I'm wondering where do we see Panix? Because we know Zenith is in the back room. Where do we see Panix near the bar? I assume he hasn't immediately left because of everything that went down.
Right, but he wouldn't have bumped into Maze. So maybe he's upstairs. Or maybe he's in the kitchen.
Yeah. I think you hear... I think as you are coming in, what did Panix make in the kitchen?
I think he has been doing his best to keep morale up by making a bit of everything that represents part of the home for everyone he's seen. So he's got a bit of a lot of comfort food dishes. Probably a lot of stews.
Yeah. Panix is... Zarza, as you come in, Panix is coming out with armloads of stews.
I said to Panix hi cousin, I would recognize that smell everywhere.
Hey, long time no see. Yeah, been a little busy. You need a plate?
I would love to. Are there Mace and Bliss around here? I would like to have a crew dog of some sort.
I haven't seen Maze, and I've been kind of hiding from Bliss, so probably not the one to ask.
Right.
I think Ecstasis, because I assume Ecstasis is still with you, Zarza, just immediately sits down to eat some stew, because he has not eaten for most of the day.
That's great. I completely forgot about Ecstasis. I think I would sit as well with Panax and Stasis and eat my plate.
Yeah, I think Panix will start poking people around from the Union and see if anyone's seen Maze, where they could find them.
They look at, I think the one that greeted Mixed Bliss says, "Well, Maze is back there with Zenith and some a mixed Bliss, I think it was, that came in here looking for them."
Oh, good, 2 for 1.
I would
I'll let Zarza go get them.
I step up and try to go in the back, and if Liz and Mace are in there, I would like.
Yeah, I think
Salute.
you come in just as Mixed Bliss is saying, "What can I do?"
That's great. Hey, Mace, please. I think we are up to some crew talk. Like, I have some interesting development that I would like to discuss with you and Panax as well.
He'll come back in with wiping his hands on a towel and go, "Hey, hey, Bliss."
I think Bliss doesn't say anything directly to Panax. So, looks like we're all involved now. Anyway,
this is a question because I don't remember. Like, do Bliss and Panax know about Mark and the circumstances of Mark's death?
I think that might just be something only you and Maze were in on.
Yeah, I was trying to remember that. So, but I guess they know Mark is dead.
Yeah.
Right. So, I think this is a moment to disclose, Mace, with Listen Panax, that the death of Mark was a little bit strange. And I think there's something happening in the planet related to that. Like, there's some disease that folks here called the crystal lung, and it's really causing a struggle. Like, jellyfishes are the food source, the main food source for people around here, and they are getting this disease. And like, I'm pretty sure that the Exva Corporation is like causing this with their not great practices of exploitation of the planet. And I'm worried. I'm worried about the people here. I'm worried about our crew. I'm worried about all the Aubrey that are living here. Like, if Mark got this with like almost no contact with the planet, like, what? How can we say we don't have this?
Yeah, and I think maybe it's fair to say that if it's colloquially known as crystal lung, maybe it's just a kind of an accepted hazard of mining. But now that we know it's in the jellyfish and that Mark got it, in a different way, it's obviously a lot more serious than anyone would have given it much thought to before. So yeah, I think. Definitely something to be kicked up the chain, literally or figuratively.
Yeah, I think that when you bring this up, Ecstasis looks down at his bowl and says, "Well, I hadn't known about any of this, but the reason that Doge and I had been sent to this planet was," and I think he kind of reaches into his robe and pulls out a kind of small yellowish crystal. They're very similar to the ones that you found inside Mark. Was that The prelates of our faith believe that these crystals have a sort of connection to the way, that they lead to the kingdom beyond. And I hadn't want to bring it up, but we are carrying a rather large load of those crystals in securely. But I do believe Mark may have I had found him inspecting our ship.
Wait, are you telling me that we brought on hazardous material that you were transporting on your ship? You didn't say anything.
I had not known that it was hazardous, Bliss.
Well, all right, hazardous or not, you were transporting a large amount of this substance and didn't disclose it? Stasis, what do you...
I had been informed by the prelate that sent us that we were not to tell anyone the nature of our cargo. And I didn't want...
When he says not to tell anyone the nature of our cargo, Bliss very, very clearly gives a side eye at Maze. Sounds familiar.
Wait, no, I was just told not to tell you.
What are you transporting this to? What is... Why here? Why are you transporting this here?
We were to bring it back to the source, to the planet that we were hoping Exaba would gift to us.
Seems kind of naive. I mean, no offense, I'm just kind of naive a little bit.
I think he's about to respond, but then he just kind of enters back into his like passive non-resist, like to peaceful resistance mode, and just kind of gives like a sigh and keeps eating.
Well, whatever we do, this material is clearly toxic. And it's a byproduct of the mining operation. I mean, I know mining's a dirty business. Is there anyone?
And
is this something
he
that
looks at you though and says, "But I know when you were with me earlier, Bliss. I know you felt the energy of it. It's not just a crystal; it's something more." And you felt that energy. It was the closest thing you have felt in a long time to like a actual physical connection to your faith.
I'm going to turn to Zenith and ask: has anyone else been exhibiting these crystal lung? Is this anything that's been happening to people more recently?
He sighs. Since they abandoned the mines in Munov. Yeah. And I think, as he answers that, there is a clamor of kind of small aircraft engines from outside. And through the front door storms a small group of about 3 or 4 armored security guards, and at their head is the Officer Zarza that you had noticed when you were meeting up with the Abri. And he looks around the room and says, well, it looks like there's a meeting, looks like there's a celebration going on. I'm Officer Callus, and I'm here to arrest a certain Zenith for crimes of terrorism. I want to turn to, first off, I want to turn to Zarza, because I do want to know, because we haven't had the spotlight on you as much just yet. What is and you're also the Strider. You're the one that is like quick on the draw of anyone here.
Yeah. I think I don't know if this is a fight we can win, so I think I would try to like let the situation progress a little bit, like engage peacefully with them and like see if there's some advantage or some moment of opportunity where I can take a more violent action.
Cool. I think that, yeah, as like the bustle, as like everyone here, as there's this moment of tense silence, Zenith comes out from the back. I think he still has the blood from our unionist friend on him. And he says, well, Kalis, I see you're finally slumming it down here with us. Are you? And it sounds like you're here to arrest me. I'm here if you want to take me, but I don't think I'm going to go peacefully. And Kalis gives a grin and says, no, I don't think you are. And I want to turn over, let's say, Panix here. I know, Panix, you have an investment in all this. What are Panix's thoughts here?
I think he'd kind of approach and say, hey, come on, why don't you have a seat, have a plate, we can talk this out, and, see if there's a amicable solution here. Nobody's going anywhere.
I don't think this is quite manipulate another. I feel like this is still acting under pressure. I don't think there is like an outcome where it's like, yeah, we'll all like sit down, because I think that like you need to promise them something, and I think effectively like the promise here would be that like they get to arrest Zenith. They just won't do it like with force. And I don't know if that's the outcome you want here, right?
Or could I pull out that this was a handsome feast?
I mean, no one can resist a Panax special, right?
The special ingredient
Okay.
of love.
Okay, I think we can go with that. I mean, I think that they... Because they ask you to promise something first, because I don't think you can just that's like when you cook them food, but I think it's like you still need to actually get them down to the table to do this. And so I'm just sort of thinking through what we do here. I think that they look at you and say, one more meal as a free man. I don't think I could begrudge Zenith that. But I'm going to need any weapons in these premises turned over.
Are we just talking like pew pew weapons? Because I kind of need some knives, and technically, you know.
Callus chuckles. You can keep your knives.
Right on. He'll just pull out his gun and just smack it down on the table.
Zenith pulls out the rifle that he has clearly taken off of that security officer earlier and puts it down on the table. And give me a roll with beauty here.
Six.
I mean, I should have asked, did anyone want to... Well, I forgot to ask if you want to do this. Would you like to take a risk of making a testing if your love is true here?
Huh.
Because I forgot to ask if you want to do this. It feels like a time to do it if you want. And that could bump you up here to a success.
Yeah, I mean, sure. Plus beyond is my greatest stat. This will be fun.
Hey!
That one's an 8.
Yeah, your love is true, but nothing in this life is simple. You take +2, and we'll say to this roll. But I choose 1. Your love is not pure. It is tainted by strange desires or ulterior motives, or your love is not strong. It may be swallowed. Yeah, you know what? I'm going to go with the first one. I think you definitely read it in both their body languages. Kalis and Zenith used to fuck.
Yep.
Like, it is definitely, there's a lot of bitterness between the two of them, but like, you can definitely tell that is a thing.
Yeah, and I think he'll kind of eye them for a minute and just go, yeah, I'll get started in the kitchen.
Oh man. So yeah, there's a little bit of the tension in the room. Like, definitely a lot of the unionists are keeping a tight eye on things. But I want to turn back over to Zarza as Panix has gone back to the kitchen.
I would like to talk to Kelly, and I think I will just approach her and said
Kalis is he, him.
Sorry, I would approach him and say what do you think about the Exeva Corporation responsibility in the Crystal Lung situation? Do you think you are being complicit?
I think that reports of Crystal Lung are highly exaggerated by certain seditious groups. He says that last part very loudly and just kind of gives a flash of the military pistol on his belt again.
Is really this how you want to be remembered? Is really this the cause for what you are giving your life? You will fight to protect those that are poisoning us.
I think he looks to you and looks a little bit more closely. Oh, I know you now. You were one of those. You're that little Abri down the docks. You're cute.
I'm more than that, but I think you don't want to answer my question.
Ask me a question. If you want to ask me a question that isn't so naive, feel free to ask. But the way I see it is that I may need to be pulling in a certain little Abri for sedition along with Zenith. So, out of curiosity, what do you want here? Are you trying to read another's thoughts? Are you trying to manipulate someone?
I think I was trying to manipulate him, but I'm not so sure now. I would like to know. I think I would like to know if there is some like hint of doubt about his actions, like if he has some remorse of what he's doing, like some thread that I can pull to maybe stop this thing.
Yeah, give me a roll with brain. Oh, go ahead.
I'm just wondering, maybe Zarza asks him if he likes eating jellyfish, like most people do on World,
Yeah, does Maze come over and is anyone else joining this very awkward conversation?
I think maybe if Maze is calling his attention to how his diet may be compromised for Crystal Lung, maybe Maze is helping Zarza on this role. That makes sense.
Okay, so we could treat that as a manipulate. What do you want out of him exactly?
Sorry, is that to me or Zarza?
To Zarza. Zarza is the one that's sort of you'd be helping.
I think ideally I want them to like abandon their shops and like join against Exio Corporation, but I think more realistically I would like want them to turn a blind eye to this whole situation and let some insurrection happening.
Okay. Yeah, I think that he looks at you. And there is... Look, I don't have any strong moral desire to help the Exiba Corporation. I even, like Zenith on a good day. But if I'm going to walk out of here, I'm going to need to know that you have something that would make it would make certain I have a retirement fund to land somewhere else. So the thing he is asking you to promise here is a hefty bribe. And remember, the promise is you just make the promise, and then the roll will decide if you how much of an assurance they're going to want.
Sure. I think I would like put my most secure face and say like that could be arranged.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, Maze, are you helping here?
I mean, I don't know if you're going down the bribery route. I'm not sure if maybe calling attention to what the company is doing really will help. I don't know what you think. I don't be working at cross purposes fictionally, but
Okay.
I'll make the roll, sure.
I mean, we can make the roll and see, and let the roll inform us how helpful Maze actually is.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, it could convince them enough to keep them from changing their demands.
Yeah. So when you help, you roll plus bonds you have with them, and I think Maze has one with Zarza, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so Zarza, you get an
7.
additional +1 here.
And this is manipulate so with beauty, no?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I'm rolling all fours today.
Oh, is that did you roll a 4?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Your beauty is the worst stat. Okay. Cool. I'll keep that in mind. And Panix, you had said that you wanted to hit your handsome feast move.
Yeah.
Give me what are you preparing in the back here? Is it more of the stew?
I think he's noted the planets of origin, specifically of these officers, and is trying to hit all the high notes from there in the hopes that maybe he'll find someone's childhood favorite.
Mm-hmm. Cool. Give me a roll here with Brawn.
You got some
13.
seasoning. Oh, who needs seasoning with that roll?
Yeah, so you get to choose 2.
Yeah, I'm going to go with everyone becoming uninhibited and loose-lipped, and also obliged to repay me.
Oh. Okay. I think as it comes as you bring the meals out, I think that to kind of hit on that miss as well, as you are placing the plates out, I think that Bliss, you see that Callus's eye is drawn to that little piece of crystal that Ecstasis is still fiddling with. And he snatches it out of Ecstasis' hand and says, "Well now, where did you get this? Haven't seen a intact shard like this for a shard this big, I should say, for some time."
Probably not since the Exhiba Corporation abandoned their operations over, where did you say it was?
Munov.
Well, there's something. Something is not right here, and Bliss is using "not right" in a very, very broad sense, because there's always something not right somewhere. Something. I think intentionally is saying that to lead on Kalis, so that he can perhaps say what he thinks is not right. Something's not right here. Have you been? Were you contracted by Exhiba? Come haul these folks in?
They pay well. What can I say?
Yeah, they do, and you can't blame someone for trying to make a living in this system. What was the last time that you saw a shard this size?
Not since they hit the big load, and well, mind Munov out. But do you mind telling me where you found this shard? And he is looking straight at Ecstasis, who is just looking down at their stew bowl. Oh, and of course everyone is loose-lipped. Yeah, this is you're getting information here, but there is that miss that you're also dealing with. I think Ecstasis says we are not handing over any of it to you. And Kalis smiles.
And I when that grin comes across his face, I think I reach out and I put my hand on the crystal. I say, now, this these shards aren't really anything that we have sway over. It's not. As far as I know, the church is not involved in this situation with the miners. Now, if you'd be so kind as to return that piece to our friend here.
He nods, and he calls out, Mr. Panix, I have some good news for you.
Kind of curious by whose measure, but I'm always here for good news. And he'll come out with the first of the plates, I imagine.
He pulls out his pistol and points it at Ecstasis. I found a source of profit for myself, and you can keep Mr. Zenith.
Pretty sure that's not gonna fly, but we can keep talking.
How about this? We can keep talking. I give you Zenith, and you give me the crystals that this one over here apparently has.
The murder crystals. Interesting. Cap? What's the move here?
So he is, you made him uninhibited and loose-lipped. And also, he is obliged to repay you for your hospitality, which he is. But I also had that miss to play off of to bring in.
And I think as soon as he drew the pistol, like there's sort of like there's like an electricity in the air. Things got very tense. And so I'm like, I say, Ecstasis?
We just have the 1 ton.
Ecstasis? I'm going to give you my communicator, and I need you to relay back to the ship the release code for your cargo.
Give me a roll with acting under pressure here to keep control of the situation.
Yeah. Let's see, what's my balance? 2.
Okay, that is an 8. So you falter, buckle, or break. The GM can offer you a worse outcome, a hard bargain, or an ugly choice. I think you've dealt with people like Kalis before, Bliss. And I think that from the way you're reading things here, there is no way that this will not end in violence. I think that you have the option here, the opportunity. He didn't search you for weapons. And you could draw here and get off the first shot if you wanted. Or we are going to leave what happens to Ecstasis up to the whim of Kalis.
Yeah, and I realize this, and through my mind flashes Maze saying, "You can be better," and yeah, I from like my place as I'm like leaning on the table, like trying to keep things calm, and as quickly as I can, I draw my as I'm reaching in to say, I'm going to give you my communicator so you can relay back to the ship. And as I reach my hand into my jacket to get my communicator, I feel my blaster pistol.
Mm-hmm.
And I draw.
Okay. Are you firing or are you intimidating?
I'm firing.
Yep. Give me a roll of plus brawn, and then I think we'll shift over to how Maze deals with all this.
I think my brawn's, 0? Great.
Oh!
There it is. A 10. That'll do.
Yep. You get to choose 3. You take definite hold of you secure your hold on something. You take definite hold of it or the situation. I mean, the situation here being Ecstasis' safety, basically. You suffer little harm. You inflict terrible harm, or you impress, dismay, or frighten your enemy.
I don't think I need to inflict terrible harm. I think I secure the safety. I suffer little harm, and I impress, dismay, or frighten my enemy.
Cool. And I think your blaster is how many harm on its own?
2 harm, I think. 2 harm loud.
Yeah. There is that snap of the blaster going off. And like, I think it's definitely one of those moments where like we are flashing between all the characters until we finally flash that the person that has shot isn't the person we thought was going to be, which was Kalis. It is Bliss holding out the pistol. And Kalis is bleeding from a bad shoulder wound. The pistol dropped to the ground. And he looks... Well, he also had a pistol. You suffer little harm. I think... No, I basically set you up. You had a kind of sucker punch here. So you can, I think with the suffer little harm, you don't take any harm at all. I think he looks at you and says, "Oh, you are going to, you're going to regret that." And he gestures to his men who are standing at the edge. Give yourself over now, and I will not. And I can make certain that we will go easy on you. But there's definitely, you see that there's a lot of bluster in his voice right now. you got that shot in on him, and he was not expecting that. He's used to pushing people around, not fighting them.
Yeah, I know that I like his entourage has not immediately opened fire, so I know that there is something that is holding them back too.
Yeah. Maze. Things got complicated quickly.
Of course, I mean, I'm not even going to say I said be better. I didn't quite mean, shoot the first guy who makes a cross word at you. But, I'm not going to quibble. I think I'll take what I can get. I think, I'm gonna maybe apply some kind of very rudimentary, rough medical attention to Kalis. More like, take 2 of these in the morning and don't show your face around here again. Or, just to follow my whatever the equivalent of the Hippocratic Oath is. Right? He's wounded and obviously suffering. And maybe he's like putting up a brave show in front of his people, but he's gonna bleed out soon, I think. Yeah, I'm gonna patch him up a little bit and basically send him on his way with the equivalent of 2 space aspirin.
Yeah, it sounds like you're trying to intimidate another.
Yeah. I think maybe I know Bliss has already kind of taken definite hold of the situation, but I'm just kind of maybe adding some salt to the wound by saying we are so unconcerned with you that I am the other side giving you.
Yeah, and actually, you don't need to intimidate another. The shots were already fired, but seems a little bit silly to also ask that of you. I think that I think he kind of looks, he is just pissed looking at all of you and the way and what you and this. And I want to just check in. What does Zarza do? You were just trying to negotiate with him. Then he pulled a gun, got shot.
I'm to clarify the situation. Is there are there companions of his that are around?
Yeah, there are a couple other security officers with him.
Are they reacting in some
I think
way?
they are they have definitely drawn, but they are not shooting.
Okay. I would like to also pull my gun and address them and say okay, so we can go all nasty here. We can shoot each other and it will be awful. It's already awful. Look, but I think we can also work together. You maybe go back and report that everything is under control and you already shot us all, then we are all dead. And at the same time, you take a break and the situation escalates without you being in the crossfire.
Okay, I think this is definitely intimidate another.
Okay. And that's sweet. Brawn. Okay.
Because this isn't just run off. This is run off and cover for us.
Yeah. I'm rolling great today.
Oh. Yeah.
I think Sarsa should stick to having visions and
Just don't try talking or shooting. Just have visions.
Could Panax try to help?
It's at 3.
Oh,
Yeah, it is a very. I think. Yeah, it's a very bad. Zarza rolled snake eyes. There's not much to help here. How do we? What is the move we make here? I think that Kalis is just angry and spitting mad at you, Zarza. And I think this is going to be the thing. He is shouting up at you insults, curses, and I think that his men are definitely like not willing to just walk off while he is still at least ostensibly making the show of anger at you. And he is saying that he will hunt each and every one of you and your little union friends down. And I think that's when you know, Zarza, if you are going to intimidate these folks, you have to make sure one of this Kalis doesn't walk out if you're alive. You have to be willing to do that.
I think I would look back at Stasis and like said to him like, I'm sorry for this, but it has to be done. And I will shot him in the floor.
Oh. He drops. Like there is a moment of like twitching and then stillness. And all of the other guards kind of look between each other, look to you, look to Kalis, and they just sort of quietly file out the way they came. Panics. What do you do?
He is going to. I think he's just going to take a seat at the table and just look at the others and say, "So we gotta go now, right?"
I think Zenith looks to you. So that's it. You and your folks are going to run.
Well, I mean, like, I'm pretty good with plants and all. Pretty sure I could use this fertilizer, but a lot of people saw, and that's harder to deal with.
You saw them how they looked at your friend there. I don't think they're going to talk about what happened here.
Then, I mean, back to the fertilizer plan, I guess. I can help with that.
I think there's definitely like a little bit of a wince, but after a moment, Zenith nods and says, "That may be the best. You're right."
Are we all in?
It sounds like you were going to say something, Mace.
Yeah, I was gonna maybe pass comment to Bliss, wondering exactly when the Fast Folly will be fit for going out into the void. Because if I recall correctly, it wasn't like tomorrow or anything.
Well,
It'll take a few days to a week.
Yeah. That all depends on the person at the shipyards. That being said, I don't think that we can just leave this. We've gotten ourselves, as whether I like it or not, we've gotten ourselves involved in this, and we can't just cut tail and run.
That's actually that's really good, Cap. Because I was thinking maybe before the whole we just killed that guy thing. I was thinking maybe I'd see about staying.
Oh yeah, and I think that because I do want to. I realize I gave the consequence of that rule without the benefit to the see if your love is true. I think there's definitely like a little bit of a glance up from Zenith. And I think, like, you could tell that there was some degree of past lust between him and Kalis, but I think that there is, like, a full-on longing in his eyes as he glances up at you.
If no one would get mad about it.
Oh, leaving the crew. All right. Yeah. I'm sure. Yeah. Yeah. You only folks only signed on for as long as they want to stay on the ship. So yeah, that's it's been good sailing with you.
Yeah, it's been fun. I mean, I still have stuff on the ship, so like I'm not.
Yeah. I think that Panax probably actually.
While this awkward conversation goes on, Zenith looks over to Zarza. So, it sounded like you had a plan.
Yeah, Panax, would you accompany me to talk to the rest of our family here in the planet?
Yeah, sure. Wait, like you and me, or like the rest of the ship's crew?
I think they will be like more receptive if we agree to talk to them. Like they have weapons. Like they can help this thing, and they are also in dire need. So maybe if we go talk to them, and we can get some help to this whole endeavor.
Yeah, I can help with that. We can bring some food. Got lots to spare.
And I guess while we do so, Bliss and Ecstasy Stasis could like help bring the relinquishment together. Like maybe the Union, Senate could like mount some sort of resistance with the Union, and we can maybe take Exiva, go to their doors with weapons, and like make them go out the way they came. Do you think that's a realistic way out of this?
Seems worth a shot.
Yeah. I think that we have to send a message that makes the Expo Corp regret coming in and throwing out all the pollution and just having no care for this place.
Cool. I think then that's a good moment to fade to black there. And I think with the time we have left, we're going to kind of treat a few of these scenes as like the outcomes will have sort of reaching consequences rather than kind of, because we want to kind of pull things to a wrap. But I'm wondering, so Zarza, you had said you wanted to set up a meeting with the Abri, right?
Yeah, I would like to come back to them, like speak to Centella, I think is the name of the one. Yeah, Centella. And like I think maybe I have some goodwill with them. They would listen to Panax and I about what is happening and why we need to change things around here.
Yeah. So I'll throw this out to Panax, Zarza, either of you feel free to answer this. What kind of like what sort of like activities or places do like, you know, like we kind of think of bars or community centers, like what sort of thing like that does agriculture sort of like, do the people in agriculture sort of like to gather at?
I feel like there's the obvious community gardens,
Okay.
but I'm open to other suggestions.
I think community gardens are cool, are a cool idea.
Cool. So I'm gonna throw out here that I think that in this community gardens, as our camera lands on it, I think that there is, among all the plants, only one plant here that's like truly from the Abri homeworld. Could you describe that for me, Zarza?
I think it's like rainbow colored leaves plant with that when the lights hit the plant just right, like it breaks the light into a rainbow pattern that reflects all across the leaves, and like it's very like beautiful to look at it, and like it draws attention to it.
And other than that, though, most of the plants in the garden are like local flora that has been sort of adapted to Abri tastes. And I'm curious, how have the Abri here adapted the local flora to their tastes in the community garden?
I think in a lot of cases, a plant might be cut back for aesthetic purposes, or selectively trimmed to bring out the most traditionally attractive parts. But the Abri like even the rough parts. So things might look overgrown, but it's more celebrating the plant's nature and the truth of it.
Cool. And I think there are kind of around the place several Abri who are some degree of like working or like sitting and talking in the park. But you do find Centea here near this rainbow tree, the kind of lights blinking through its leaves, kind of casting this rainbow pattern over their skin. Centea is here talking with several of the older members of the Abri community here, which I guess, as we discovered, I think a couple sessions ago, is like well beyond 300 years old. is what an elder is, because I think that we even decided Panix, is Panix old, or are they still rather like middle aged for an Abri?
Yeah, I think he's toward the younger end of middle age.
Okay, so yes, they're like the elders here are like far more than like 300 years old. So, but yes. They look up and say, Centea says, you're the one that helped out on the fishing vessel today.
Yeah, Auntie. Hi. I would like to present you with Panax here. He's a friend from the crew.
Hey, good to meet you.
Hey,
Another blue one. You're not going to come here and intimidate us into trying to work with the Exiba Corporation, are you?
Oh, no, that's not my bag. Oh, is that the one from the ship, Zarza?
I
She
think
was an off-worlder, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think we are trying to do the opposite of that. There is some development with the Exeva, and I would like to talk to you about that. And I think like Sarsa would like bring the crystal lung. Like I would say, like I think this crystal lung thing is getting worse, and Exeva is causing this with their careless exploitation, and I think we can lose everything. You can lose everything if we don't do something about it. The union is ready to do something about it, and even the relinquishment has agreed to help. And I think I would like you to consider helping us to get Exeva off this planet for good.
I think she nods and looks to you, Panics, and says, and I take it the both of you are asking us to put our safety on the line for this.
Well, with all due respect, your safety's already on the line. This way you just get a say in it. And hey, I'll be here. And so, I can show people the ropes. I am pretty new at this, but I try real hard and I learn real fast.
Oh, yes. I'm thinking of what the promise they want here is. I think that they nod and say a lot of what you were saying makes sense. And they look to... So I think Padex is definitely helping here, but I think Zarza will probably be the one to ask to make the rule if that works. Or we could decide. You can decide here who makes what role, because you're both doing this. But they look to Padex and say, it's been a long time since we've had someone to speak for the home world here. If you're saying you're staying, would you be willing to take on that role within our community?
And he'll look at Zarza and then look back at the elder and be, oh no, oh no, that's not a good idea. No, I no. Zarza though, Zarza's great.
Panex, I think they are asking of you. You are older than me. You have more experience. I think I think my talents are needed in other places, but yours, you have a strong sense of what is right and wrong, and you and you are like a good connection for these people. I think you can do good here.
I mean, I can try, but I'm not.
We wouldn't ask you to take on the role overnight, but you're of the blue. You have that connection, and if you were willing to stay here and train with us, we could see that you're willing to make a commitment to us before we're willing to make a commitment to you.
Yeah. I mean, I was adopted. I'm not like yeah, I can try.
Okay. Give me this. First off, give me this roll here, Panix, to help Zarza.
Rolling with, or just, oh no, it's just help. Oh,
Bonds, yeah.
And I was thinking maybe like I help Panax because I think
sure.
He's offering like to be. I think he's like compromising more here than me.
Okay, Zarza, go ahead and roll to help Panix. I think also from a min-maxing perspective, it's better the other way around.
Yeah, but I was trying to.
Oh yeah, I keep forgetting that you're the one that has beauty -1.
Yeah, and I have 2 ones with Panax, but that's also I roll a 2 and a 1 again. So.
Okay. I think I can, in my head, know what's happening here. But go ahead and give me your roll, Panix, with plus beauty.
That's a 13.
Mm-hmm. Cool. Actually, no, sorry, the green ones. The green ones are right. The ones that... so reverse my coloration descriptions back there, because we were talking the other way around, and I was getting confused in my head. But I think they nod. It will be an honor to teach you, World Speaker. Now, what is it that you wanted of us? And I'm going to just go ahead and ask Zarza. I'm wondering, how does Zarza feel like Panix has practically been invited into this community for having practically done nothing. Whereas they did not even make this, she did not even make this offer to you.
I think Sarsa is in a way like for in some sense I think she feels rejected for this, but also I think she has such high hopes for herself and like for the other Aubrey I could help in other planets, and like I think she want to do more, and she wouldn't want to like put the her roots here. Like I think she wants to go like to other planets and to help other Aubrey, and so I think this is an opportunity for Panax. Panax has already said he wanted to stay here, and I don't think Sarsa would want to stay here. So I think she's overall like good with this situation.
Mm-hmm. Cool. But yes. What and I think do we want to like do you have a specific so to clarify because we don't need to go into like the whole conversation where you explain, but in broad strokes, what was it you wanted the Abri community to do? And I think they'll largely be okay with doing it because of this role.
I don't know if but when we in the game you miss when we see like these fishing vessels like with some electric nets and some laser harpoons and pretty cool weaponry that obviously is not for it is not the best weaponry for assaulting Nexeva, but I think we could like dismount them and like take them off the ships and bring them at the doors of Extra Corporation and mount some pretty intimidating force, like with all this weaponry.
Cool. Yeah, I think that's definitely, we see that going on in montage. And I think I want to shift us over to, so Bliss and Maze. So I actually want to clarify. We talked about getting the relinquishment. What, like, do either of you have plans beyond that, or like, what is the plan with the relinquishment? I will ask you, but what is Bliss's plans here? How does Bliss prepare for this?
Yeah, I think that Bliss. I've mentioned that there are different like factions, different like sects of the relinquishment, and so I think that Bliss goes to Ecstasis and put me in touch with there's a group that are known for like direct action like not necessarily military, but definitely they have connections that could get some more person power.
Cool. I believe, yeah, this is, I assume you're kind of hitting on the connections move here.
Yeah.
So I think that definitely there's been, like, because you roll and you have +1 if you've been good to them so far, which I feel like in the most recent things that have happened, there has been a lot of tension between Ecstasis and not just Bliss, but now with Zarza as well. because Zarza broke her promise. But I'm willing to say that +1, that he is on hand. The +1 is if you're in the town they live, but he's on hand. So you can take +1 to this roll. Okay, wow. Here we go. The person you found will help you on a success. The person you found will help you in any way they can.
Yeah.
I think that just to kind of play this out, I think is this like where are you asking this of Ecstasis?
So I think that we're there. I'm sort of picturing like there's like a makeshift bunker sort of situation. Like it's the doors are. It's in it's in a building that's been repurposed. The doors are barricaded. The windows are boarded over. There's people running around with the unionists, like have some like diagrams of the mining compound. And there's a secure terminal. I would ask them to show me to a secure terminal. I say, Ecstasis, I know that you have connections with the more political arms of the relinquishment.
Ecstasis sighs and says, "There's really no way that any of this is going to end peacefully, is there?"
In sometimes the only way to achieve peace is to pass through violence.
I think that Doge said much the same thing to me once, and I didn't want to believe her. And even after all I've seen, I don't think I want to in the way that you and she do. I'll give you the codes. I'll get you through. But I think I'm going to need to go afterwards, after all this is over. I still love you, but
We don't walk the same path, and I don't think that we ever really did. But
no.
I think that we'll arrive at the same destination.
He writes the codes into a strip of paper and then takes you into a hug when he hands it over. I don't know when I'll see you again after all this, but give Mom and Dad a call sometime, all right?
Yeah, I'll do that. It was good to see you.
You too.
Stay safe, and we'll make the connection for support. I don't think that they necessarily provide they don't roll in with tanks probably.
Yeah. No, yeah. I think that definitely you get what you want there. And again, we kind of can montage over that. And finally, Maze. How is Maze preparing?
Yeah, I think maybe in kind of a general supporting role, maybe setting up a resistance central clinic or something like that. Maybe at the bar. Obviously, Zenith can't really show his face around too much if people know where to find him. And then it's just prep for when things do get bloody. There's going to be a lot of scrounging for supplies, or maybe reaching out to other people who could do a similar job in the community. But yeah, I guess preparing for the worst and maybe doing a community clinic in the meantime.
Yeah, and I think that of the people that report to you is, of course, is Sky is among them.
Okay.
And she is just sort of, Maze, folks told me on the ship to come over to report here. So out of curiosity, were we always rebels? I did not realize that.
Some of us may have always been rebels, but other people have come to it late in life. But that is fine, Sky. I'm not going to ask you which you were. You're just going to have to step up right now.
Okay. So I also just want to clarify. When you asked me to go for drinks with you, that was rebel business and not a date.
I don't think that was a date.
Okay. Well, I wasn't. I was very confused when you asked me to go for drinks with you, and I wasn't certain. What should I do? What should I say?
You probably should have asked that question right there and then.
Well, but if it was a date, that would have just been embarrassing.
Yeah, but right now, are you embarrassed a little bit?
Yes, but I am more confused than embarrassed at the moment.
So you just think of it's better to embarrass your past self yesterday than yourself right now. But sure, you can ask me out on a date if you want.
And she blushes. All right. Not now though, right? That would be weird to go on the date now as all the clinic is being set up around you.
You gotta have boundaries, right? It's gotta be in 2 hours when we finish up here.
Okay. If we're still alive, okay.
Seize the moment, Sky. You never know when it's going to happen.
Cool. And I don't think getting the clinic set up isn't in itself a role. It will be a good thing to know we have that, fictionally. But are you fine with that? Because I don't think there's necessarily a role to be made here.
Yeah. I mean, I think everyone else probably has some kind of a linchpin role in our conspiracy/resistance movement. So yeah, I'm kind of happy for Maze to be kind of a backroom support kind of person right now. So yeah, I don't think a role is necessary. At least I can't see where the role would be.
Yeah. So, in that case, I think that we're kind of approaching the end here. So I think that what we're going to see is a montage. And I feel like with how we've set up, that this is effectively, I'm going to ask someone to make and intimidate another towards effectively the Exaba Corporation on behalf of like your movement. Because it sounded like the idea wasn't so much we're going to smash in the building, but we're going to surround it and like basically force them to hand over the building, right? That's what I got the sense of from the harpoons and stuff, at least.
Yeah, I was thinking that more because the relinquishment. I don't think the relinquishment will agree to help if we like enter Exeva and kill everyone. Like that would be bad. I think.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's not a military operation
Yeah, cool.
outright.
So, yeah, I'm gonna go around, and I think, yeah, let's go by character keeper. Well, yeah, character keeper order. Where do we see Bliss as like the harpoons are out? There are people in the streets, and I also say the guards are oddly not turning up for some reason, almost like someone scared them off. Well, not all the guards, but a number of guards have not shown up. But Bliss, where do we see Bliss?
I think that Bliss is with the. I think that Bliss is with the relinquishment. What are we gonna call these folks? I'm thinking of like the like like activist Catholic movements where that were like very supportive of like workers' rights.
The liberation relinquishment.
Yeah. And Bliss is with those folks and feels at home now. Like things are clicking. And I think that they are, yeah, they're like linking arms with these folks as they march towards the mining facility.
Yeah. And Maze. How do we see Maze as part of this movement? I know we already kind of talked about what Maze was up to, but like if you want to give us like kind of an action shot of Maze doing something in the clinic.
Yeah, I mean, I think even with the most, things are going to spill over into violence at some stage, I'm sure. No matter how much we intimidate these guards, one of them is going to cut loose. So I think there's maybe some light wounds, maybe just from ransacking the place or putting up with some resistance. So I think we just see Maze, triaging people. Hopefully there aren't anyone that she can't help, but directing people. Maybe Sky is one of them to do some basic first aid and get people kind of situated and looked after. So yeah, very much kind of just prepare for the worst, hope for the best kind of situation that we see Maze in, right?
Cool. And what about Zarza?
I think we see Zarza like carrying one of these harpoons herself, like together with a small group of Aubrey, like marching right in front of some guards.
Mm-hmm. And finally, where do we see Panics?
I think we see Panax kind of weaving through the crowd, and everywhere he's been, you see people are left with a little, like a little granola bar type thing and a bottle of water, and then he ends up standing next to Zenith and right at the front lines.
Mm-hmm. And I would like, basically, rather than rolling plus brawn, I would like someone to give me a +4 roll, and to like, because we got the guards, the clinic, the support of the relinquishment, and the Abri. So that's 4 things total. So who would like to give me this +4 roll?
I have a suggestion.
Yeah.
Could we call this? Could I roll for righteous censure? I don't know how that would play into what we're trying to do.
I think.
It seems like it's more of the intimidate.
Yeah, I think I'd rather keep with intimidate for this role, because I'm kind of treating this as like the summation of all your actions.
Yeah,
but it sounds like you are volunteering, Chet. Give us this +4 roll, and if it goes poorly, it's on you.
There we go.
Cool.
There we are.
Yeah. So on an intimidate roll of 10 plus, they choose.
Oh no, that was the last one. That was the last one, I believe. There we go.
Yep, that's a 15 for folks watching. Yeah, I think that we see, like, there is, like, faced with just this mass of protests. Like, we see security vehicles, like, driving out Mardine Exaba through the streets. Like, they are full on retreating from this planet. And like just letting this protest movement take control. And I think in the days and weeks the week that follows, as your ship is being repaired, I think now is a good time to ask for a epilogue of what we see happening with each of your characters in the week that follows. So let's go reverse character keeper order this time to not put Bliss on the spot again. Panics. What do we see of Panics?
I think we see Panics at the community gardens talking with the other Abri there, and then heading home after this meeting to the bar and giving Zenith a kiss on the cheek as he passes before heading into the kitchen and getting his.
Oh yeah, when you try to just pass, Zenith grabs you up and like in both his arms and just like makes certain that not just a kiss on the cheek, he full on like gives a full like kiss on the mouth as you are grabbed up in his arms.
Yeah, Panix is okay with this. And then it's back to work.
Cool. And Zarza.
I imagine like Sarsa living with the ship whenever we do so. Like I think she has other things, other ovary to find, and I would like to imagine her like maybe saying goodbye to Panax and maybe some of the other ovary, like at at the space port where the ship is going to go, and I would like to maybe the last thing I say to Panax would be like, you know that Dosh is your sibling, right?
Oh no, Doge is not his sibling. Doge
Oh,
specifically is his niece, actually.
Sorry.
His dead sister, like his sister, we kind of went into, died.
Right. So I would say that you know that Dosh is your niece, right?
And I think you're probably close on Panic's just looking like a mild panic.
Right.
Cool. And Maze. What do we see of Maze?
I think there's probably been a crew farewell at Zenith's bar for Panax, and I think we see Maze waking up in her bunk aboard the ship with a throbbing hangover, and maybe Sky handing her like two of these legendary space aspirin,
Yes.
to get over it.
Mm-hmm.
And then maybe we see her make her way to her duty station, check in on things, maybe check in on the rest of the crew who are probably not quite as bad off as she is, because she is definitely a lightweight when it comes to Temurian ales and worse, whatever was being passed out last night at Zenith's.
The jellyfish shots.
The jellyfish shots were definitely a mistake. Definitely a mistake.
Mm-hmm.
To have one was a mistake. To have two was just disastrous.
Cool. And finally, Mixed Bliss.
Seeing the like the active, the proactive relinquishment folks that were not content to just sit by and give something up and that's it, but actually be involved in the system. I think struck a chord with Bliss, and they're not gonna run off and join the order, but I think that once we're back on the ship, and the captain's probably recovered at this point, and Bliss let's say there's a scene that we see the Bliss is on the bridge and doors open and the captain comes in. Bliss stands up, says "Officer on deck," and says, "Captain, it's good to have you back. The bridge is yours. I think you might be somewhat proud of what your crew's accomplished in the past few weeks." But then Bliss is going to take some shore leave and take one of the shuttles and set a course for their home planet, and sends off a communique. It says to their parents. It says, hey, thought you ran into Ecstasis and said felt like that might be a good time to catch up. It's been a while.
Great.
And, yeah.
Great. Awesome. Yeah, and I think as we see the Fast Folly fly off for a new port, the camera fades, and like the season credits roll, and that's that. There we have it. Thanks everyone for playing, and thank you anyone for watching. Oh man, this was a dramatic session, and I'm glad that we're going to take a moment to decompress from that a little bit off camera. Bye all. See you next time.